Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we're taking a look at the really tragic story of Liam Payne's death.
Yeah.
We've got two sources for this one, both from the UK Express and Heart, and
Mm.
we're going to try to kind of figure out what exactly happened to Liam and look at the investigation and kind of the reactions of fans and loved ones.
It's a very complex story
Yeah.
and a sensitive one, so let's make sure we're treating it that way as we try to figure this out.
Absolutely. So Liam Payne, formerly of One Direction, passed away on October 16th of this year, 2024, at the young age of 31.
Wow.
He was in Argentina staying at the Casa Sur Palermo Hotel.
Yeah, it's the circumstances surrounding his death that are making this a difficult one to understand. He fell from a third-floor balcony at this hotel.
And authorities initially linked it to a possible substance-induced psychotic episode.
Right.
So that's a serious claim.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that the police raided the hotel and looked through computers, documents, trying to track down Liam's alleged drug dealer.
Yeah, they're looking for anything that will shed light on what happened in those hours leading up to his fall.
Yeah.
Like, did something trigger this episode? Were there warning signs? Was there anyone else involved?
Yeah. Now, the articles do say that currently authorities are not suspecting any third-party involvement in his death.
Right. But that doesn't mean that they're ruling anything out at this stage. They're going to be looking at every piece of evidence they can gather. Substances, security footage, witness statements, trying to recreate what happened.
Now, speaking of the substances, this is where things get kind of tricky.
Yeah.
The Argentinian news outlet Infobay, they're not one of our sources, but they are mentioned in the Express article. They reported that cocaine was found in Liam's system. However, tests on the substances that were found in his room have been inconclusive.
Yeah, so there's a discrepancy there. Maybe a translation issue. But there could also be investigative reasons that those reports are conflicting. Like maybe the substances that were found in the room weren't what they initially thought they were. Or maybe the amounts weren't enough to draw any conclusions. We'll have to wait for the toxicology report to really know what happened.
Right. It's a reminder that these investigations, they aren't always straightforward. There can be new information that comes to light, and the evidence can be reinterpreted. What seems clear at first can become complicated pretty quickly.
Yeah, and especially in a case like this, it's international, different countries, different languages. It just gets a lot more difficult. These investigations take time, especially with toxicology reports and having to collaborate with authorities in different countries.
Absolutely. So while we wait for some of those pieces to fall into place, let's switch gears and take a look at Liam's family.
Mm.
Liam's father, Jeff Payne, traveled to Argentina to identify his son's body and start the process of bringing him home. It's a 7,000-mile journey he had to take.
It's really hard to imagine the emotional toll of a trip like that. So far from home, such a tragic loss. Having to navigate the legal system of a foreign country, it's unimaginable. And while he was there, he was seen reading tributes from fans outside the hotel and collecting Liam's belongings.
Really sad. The family also released a statement expressing their grief and remembering Liam's kindness and bravery. Sounds like they're trying to hold on to those positive memories.
Yeah, these statements can serve multiple purposes for families in these kinds of situations. It can be a way for them to control the story and tell it in their own words, but it can also be a way for them to process their grief and honor their loved one's memory.
Right. And Liam's sister Ruth, she shared a really personal tribute online. It highlighted Liam's humor and his talent, but also his struggles. It's a very honest glimpse into who he was as a person.
Yeah, those personal tributes are so powerful. It humanizes the person that we've lost.
And it's clear that his death has had a huge impact not only on the family, but on fans all over the world. The Heart article goes into detail about the outpouring of grief, with fans holding vigils in cities all over London, Manchester, Birmingham, Brussels, even Stockholm and Mexico City. The list goes on.
It really is a testament to the fact that music can connect people. Liam's music resonated with a lot of people all over the world, and his death leaves a void for a lot of people.
And there's a campaign going on right now to try to build a memorial for Liam in his hometown of Wolverhampton. It's more than just mourning a celebrity. It's really about commemorating a local hero who put his town on the map.
Right. It's so fascinating how these memorials can become a place for collective grieving and remembrance. They become places where people share stories, and they find comfort in the shared experience, and they can keep the memory alive of someone they loved.
It makes you think about all the different ways we can choose to remember people that we lose, both publicly and privately.
Yeah, definitely. And Liam's music and legacy will live on through his fans. It's a way for them to keep his memory alive.
And while we're thinking about those who were close to Liam, The Express article mentions that his partner, Kate Cassidy, had flown back to the U.S. just before his death.
Uh,
I can't imagine what she must be going through right now.
yeah, it's a really tough reminder that behind the headlines and the public grief, there are individuals going through really personal loss. It's important to remember that human element and offer support and compassion to Liam's loved ones.
Now, as we wait for more details to come out about the investigation, the Hart article says that his body is going to stay in Argentina for 10 to 15 days for those toxicological tests. What exactly are they hoping to learn from those tests, and how could the results impact the direction of this investigation?
Well, those tests are a crucial part of any investigation when someone dies unexpectedly. They analyze blood and tissue samples to look for any drugs, alcohol, or any other substances that might have contributed to the death.
So in this case, they'll be looking for any substances that could either support or contradict the idea of a substance-induced psychotic episode.
Right. Those results could be really important in figuring out Liam's state of mind in the hours leading up to his fall. Did any substances have an impact? Did they contribute to this? We'll have to wait for those results.
And those findings could have implications for any legal proceedings, especially if there's evidence of illegal drug use.
Yeah, that's another layer of complexity. Depending on those tests, authorities might need to look into if anyone supplied Liam with illegal substances. There are a lot of legal avenues that could be explored.
A lot of unknowns right now. It's important to not jump to conclusions and just let the investigation run its course. We need to respect the process, honor Liam's memory, and allow the family and fans to grieve.
Absolutely. Speculation's not going to help us get to the truth. It's about patience and respect.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look more into the reactions to Liam's death and explore the lasting impact he's had on the world of music.
You know, it's been remarkable seeing the outpouring of support from fans all over. The Hart article was talking about all the vigils going on. It's a testament to Liam's reach and the way that people connected to his music.
Yeah, it feels like everyone's kind of in mourning right now.
Yeah, and it makes you think about connection.
Yeah.
Someone lights a candle in London, someone writes a message on a memorial in Mexico City, someone shares a song in Stockholm. They're all connected.
Yeah. Music really can transcend borders.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it shapes how we grieve. Music can be a comfort or a trigger for memories or a way to express emotions.
Definitely. Speaking of expressing emotions, let's talk about that push to get a memorial built for Liam in Wolverhampton. Fans want to honor him, someone who came from humble beginnings and made it big.
It's about that feeling of like, yeah, he came from here, he made it. Anything is possible.
It becomes part of the town's identity.
Right.
And the memorial would really solidify that.
Exactly. Memorials can be so powerful. They're these gathering places where people share stories and they find comfort and they can keep the memory alive. It makes grief into something tangible.
Yeah. And while we're talking about those close to Liam, the Express article mentions that his partner, Kate Cassidy, had flown back to the U.S. before his death.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
It's just awful to think about what she must be going through.
Yeah, it's a reminder that, behind all this, there's people going through something very personal, and just the weight of that loss must be so difficult.
And for someone like Kate, it must be amplified by the public nature of it. Every headline and tribute must be so hard.
It's important to remember that and to offer support to them. And also, I think it's a reminder that we need to be careful about what we say, especially online.
Yeah, you can get caught up in the news, but there's real people hurting behind those headlines.
So while we're waiting for more details, the Hart article says that Liam's body's going to stay in Argentina for 10 to 15 days for toxicological tests.
Yeah.
What will they be looking for in those tests?
Well, they do those tests when someone dies suddenly. It's like a
Yeah.
scientific deep dive, right? They analyze blood and tissue. They look for drugs, alcohol, or anything that might have played a role.
So for Liam, they'll be looking for anything to see if there was a substance-induced psychotic episode.
Exactly. It could be key to understanding what happened right before his fall. Did something impair his judgment? Did something contribute to a mental state that led to the accident?
And the results could affect the legal stuff too, right? Especially if they find evidence of illegal drug use.
Absolutely. If they find illegal drugs,
Right.
then they have to figure out where those came from. Were they illegal? Did someone give them to Liam?
It seems like there's a lot of layers to this, the legal stuff and the tragedy of it all.
Yeah, it's a balance. The public wants answers, but we have to let the authorities do their work.
We need to remember that this is about a young man who died too soon.
Yes.
It's a loss for his family and friends and fans and the whole music world.
And while his music was amazing, his passing reminds us about the pressures of fame and the importance of mental health.
Right. Ruth, Liam's sister, talked about that in her tribute online. She
Hmm.
talked about how much pressure he was under and how he never felt like he was good enough, even though he was so successful.
It reminds you that fame isn't everything.
It's not. And we need to talk more about this, about mental health, both in the industry and just in society in general.
We put celebrities on these pedestals and we expect them to be perfect.
But they're just people.
Yeah, and the scrutiny and the pressure to be perfect and the fear of letting people down takes a toll. We need to be better.
We need to break down the stigma about mental health
Yeah, we need to make it okay to ask for help and to say you're not okay.
and to seek support without feeling judged. We need to make sure the resources are there for people who need them: therapy, support groups, a safe space to just talk.
Absolutely. And we as fans need to be better too. We need to be more responsible and more compassionate. We can be mindful of what we say. We can celebrate their art without invading their privacy. We can encourage them to take care of themselves.
Fame doesn't mean someone doesn't struggle. We need to see the person behind the persona.
Yeah, we need to have empathy.
It's just like what Liam's sister was saying. Even with all the success, it sounds like he never really felt good enough.
Yeah. Fame and fortune don't always equal happiness. Liam's story is a really good example of that.
Money can't buy happiness. But it's more than that. It's that whole pressure of fame and all the eyes on you and what the industry wants from you. It can make you feel empty even when you have fans and awards.
Just imagine being in his shoes. Everyone's telling you how to look, how to act, what music you should make, and every little thing you do gets blown up on social media. That's got to be hard on your mental health.
It's not just the industry, though. It's us too, the fans. We want them to be perfect. We want to know everything about their lives, and we expect so much from them.
It's true. Think about how we consume celebrity news. It's all gossip and drama and judging them for everything they do. That just adds to the pressure.
Liam's story should make us all think about how we treat people in the spotlight. We need to be more understanding and realize that they're human too.
We need to be more empathetic, both online and offline. Let's build each other up instead of tearing each other down. Let's celebrate their accomplishments, but also remember that they're not perfect.
It's okay to not be okay. And that brings us to mental health. Liam's sister said he was struggling.
It's a big reminder that you can have everything and still be fighting your own battles.
We have to get rid of the stigma around mental health, especially in the entertainment world. It should be okay to ask for help and to admit you're having a hard time.
There needs to be support for those who need it, whether it's therapy, support groups, or just someone to talk to.
Asking for help is not a weakness.
Right. It takes strength. And we as fans can help change things too. We can
Yeah.
be more responsible with how we interact with celebrities.
We can be kinder with our words and give them space and encourage them to take care of themselves.
We have to remember that fame doesn't protect you from the struggles of being human. We need to see the person behind the celebrity.
Well, this has been a heavy, deep dive into the life and death of Liam Payne. We're feeling a lot of things: sadness, admiration for his talent, and just a real need to talk about mental health.
Liam's story had its ups and downs, but he had a huge impact on people with his music. And unfortunately, he also struggled with some things that led to this tragedy.
His music will live on, but I think the conversations his death has started are important too.
We have to talk about the pressures of fame, the importance of mental health, and just being kinder to each other.
So what do you think? How will Liam Payne be remembered? What can we learn from all of this? These are important questions to think about.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope this has gotten you thinking and that maybe you'll be a little kinder to yourself and others.
Absolutely.